It's a beautiful new day, my friends, and I'm back to try answer yet another question about Chapter 3. We've spoke about when it may release and what it may feature, but today we'll be discussing how long Chapter 3 of the Raft storyline may be. I'll be considering loads of things, including the amount of islands that we may see added in the Chapter 3 update, and also the lengths of both the previous chapters to get a realistic gauge at how much time it will take us to complete the third chapter. Could it be the longest chapter yet? Well, it would make sense. But let's start off by talking about the basis for all Raft storyline chapters, the actual size and quantity of the storyline locations. So throughout the last few months, it's been feeling like we're inching ever closer to the inevitable release of Chapter 3, and with this has come many teasers. There have also been concept art and so on released by developers in order to give us an insight into what kind of locations we may be able to look forward to. So obviously everyone knows those first two teasers which we received for Chapter 3, and these came out all the way back in 2020, and they quite clearly showed one of the locations in the new update. Varuna Point. Now we all know Varuna Point is the first location we'll be visiting inside of Chapter 3 because it's actually already written inside of our storyline notebooks in the game. Fast forward almost a year later, we were given our third teaser for Chapter 3 on the 24th of August this year. And if you're wondering why there was such a big break between teasers, well, blame the renovation update, because that's all we received for quite a while. Anywho, about this third teaser, it wasn't like the previous two, as it quite clearly depicted a completely different location, some sort of nuclear factory which could hold tons of secrets. So could this already be two separate locations confirmed for Chapter 3? Both clearly have abstract features and give me two very different ideas for what they could be. I do believe Varuna Point was created by the good people trying to save the planet, and they were clearly stopped and attacked essentially before being able to reach their goal. So could this power plant location we saw earlier perhaps be the evil opponent to Varuna Point? Someone trying to take down the good people in the world? And maybe it'll even be our job to take them down before they can do any further damage. And who knows, perhaps they'll even have some awesome blueprints waiting for us, like scuba gear, automation technology, and much more. So there we go. Shortly after the 24th of August teaser though, we received yet another one on the 27th, just 3 days later, but this one was for Varuna Point, and I can instantly tell this because not only does it look similar to the concepts we saw earlier, but when you actually right click the image and select save as, it is called Varuna_teaser_3. So there you have it, a visualization of our first two locations within Chapter 3, and I strongly believe that looking at the size of these locations already, I think it's quite easy to say that Chapter 3 will already be our biggest chapter yet. However, there is still more to go. But before I cover what could possibly be our third location confirmed for Chapter 3, it's time to briefly discuss some extra teasers and concept arts we've received for the first two locations. Next up was this strange image from inside a headquarters type building, perhaps a tower or underneath the water. It is unconfirmed where this image was taken, but to get a little bit of a hint, you can once again save the image and see that it's named Props Teaser. Now, at first glance this could be interesting, however it doesn't really tell us much. Props is obviously just the name of what the image is made up of because the room is filled with different props, tables, laptops, chairs, boxes and so on. But I strongly believe that this image was actually taken inside of that power station we discussed earlier, and I have done a few videos covering this topic already, but it's completely up to interpretation. What are your thoughts on this room though, guys? Put in the comments what you think might have occupied this building, because it definitely looks like they were up to something evil. Anyways, next up in the teaser order is obviously the skin customization leak, which was surprisingly not very well received by the community. I'll only cover it briefly though, since today's video is all about the locations. So yeah, the community obviously liked the idea of different clothes, but some thought that the developers were focusing more on cosmetic stuff like different clothing and were a bit angry because of this. However, I assure you guys they definitely weren't, and I think the teasers that followed that were proof of it. Next up was yet another concept art, and at first glance it's obviously some kind of dangerous area, but where is this area? Well, yet again I saved the image and found out it's actually inside of Varuna Point, quite likely right at the bottom, and perhaps even where a boss will be waiting for our arrival, who knows. And finally, This next concept art we were given merely 2 weeks ago confirms, in my opinion, a third location within chapter 3. Now, of course, it could be something completely different. Perhaps it's not even a part of the storyline. Imagine it's just some floating village with AI tribal characters on it that you can interact with, and you just have a chance of bumping into them randomly while sailing along. Might be a tad far-fetched, but come on, it's totally possible. At least I think it is. But if these buildings do happen to be a part of the storyline, then in my opinion, it basically means a third location is 100% confirmed. Because let's be real, the design simply does not fit in with any of the current locations we've seen before. Now guys, this is Future Rye talking to you right now, because literally yesterday, the 23rd of August, we received yet another teaser for chapter 3, and this one all but confirms a third location. It's this awesome looking visual of the tribal huts we were discussing literally just last video. However, is it just me, or are these things massive? I mean, just look at the doors. They're literally tiny in comparison. So I don't think these things will be floating on the water anytime soon, but their size does bring up a lot of speculation. What could they be a part of? Because it's got to be some kind of really sophisticated group of people, right? It has to be. I don't know, but I did want to add this teaser into the video because it does look absolutely beautiful. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comments down below. There you guys have it. That is all the teasers and concept arts we've received thus far covered and analysed. But now with these 3 locations pretty much confirmed already, I think chapter 3 could be as long as chapter 1 and 2 put together, which would only be fair considering how long we've had to wait. However, I know what you're thinking. What about a 4th location? Well, it's entirely possible, but is it realistic? Let's think. If we truly think chapter 3 is merely weeks away, then I think while it would be nice, I do not think it will happen. But it's entirely possible that they simply did not want to tease the 4th location and wanted to keep it a secret since it's meaningful to them. However, this was not the case with chapter 2. The trailer and a few teasers in the build-up actually included Tangaroa, as the development team were quite obviously proud of it. Now, could the same thing happen this year? Might we get a trailer filled with a location we've yet to see before? And if so, how long might chapter 3 be? Could it take days of playtime to complete? I mean, yes, it will be ages, and possibly twice as long as chapter 2, which already takes a while to complete. I know chapter 2 can be completed in a single day, and sometimes hours if you're properly speedrunning it, but I really think chapter 3 will be at least a couple days work. Now, not only will there be a lot to explore in chapter 3, but I think a big part of it being a very long chapter could be how hard it is to complete. I mean, think of the puzzles. Could they be even harder than before, since chapter 2 puzzles were obviously not the focus and were just there to make it slightly harder and to delay you essentially? Perhaps Redbeat may have realized this and made things much harder in chapter 3, and on top of this, I think chapter 3 will introduce yet another boss battle to Raft, and I've done an entire video on this, so feel free to watch that. However, this could quite possibly extend chapter 3 by a lot if it's an incredibly hard boss battle, for example, that you essentially have to spend hours preparing for. Anywho, I genuinely think this will be not only the longest chapter in Raft thus far, but also the hardest one, because I'm not being funny, but I bet Redbeat are sick of us completing their updates within days of them being released. Did you enjoy this video? Well, leave it a like if you did, and if you're new around here, why not subscribe to the channel? You can always unsubscribe later if I start making bad videos. Anyways guys, enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you later.